Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. We're answering questions for free here on YouTube today. And I ask that you like and subscribe. It helps me to help more people just like you. Now, we have a question from Chaz Maserati, which is a baller name, certainly. And it was asked one, it was questioned. It was questioned one day ago. It was asked one day ago. And it was asked on our February 16th of 2021 question. Do I need an attorney for the EEOC alternate dispute resolution or mediation process? And so Chaz asks, hello, should I provide evidence to an attorney at intake consult? So the first meeting with the attorney, right? And let me just pop this open here. I responded. There was a little bit of back and forth that I'm going to read in the record. I responded, some discussion of why you believe what you believe and how you can prove it is a good idea if you trust the attorney and want the attorney to take on your case. Chaz responded, he's former EEOC. I'm just not sure if I should now for mediation. Okay. Him having worked for the EEOC, to my mind, is not the best sign, but does not necessarily mean he's a bad guy. And let's instead touch upon that statement. I'm not sure if I should now for mediation. Well, if you haven't formed a bond with your attorney of some level of trust by mediation, you probably have the wrong attorney. Because the attorney needs to know what kind of evidence she or he is playing with before mediation so they can know how to negotiate, right? If you need to value the case and you know how likely the case is to win if it goes forward. And if you have no idea if you can win this case or even what the valuation is, I suspect the results at mediation are going to be somewhat randomized. They're not going to be ideal. Chaz, I actually posted, I posted again. I'll try to make you a video, but if you don't trust the attorney to represent you, if you show him the evidence, why did you hire him? Chaz responded, that, sir, would absolutely help. And trust me, it's not that I don't trust him per se, but I really just don't trust anyone at all. That is very common in people who've experienced employment discrimination in the workplace or sexual harassment. And before I go on and read the rest of what you said, I just want to note, when someone attacks your livelihood, it creates a lot of distrust in your life because someone is trying to strip your ability to feed, clothe, shelter yourself, right? That your job is how you do all of those things and for yourself and for your family. It's how you keep your family alive. So when people attack that, there is a lot of emotion tied up in that. It's very, very common for people to feel that way. So I hear what you're saying, but we may need to work around that if we're going to move forward. Chaz goes on, I'm looking for someone to represent me during mediation, but my case is complicated. To me, it makes total sense to present my potential defender with documentation that shows the facts that my former employer is lying. Saying so would make it seem like just any other client, I guess. Okay. So there's some ways that you could go about building trust. And I think that's probably what you would have to do here, right? You're going to have to share your evidence with this person. At the end of the day, what you're asking, if you're hiring an attorney to handle an entire case for you, most attorneys, I mean, you're basically asking them for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, depending on how far the case goes. That's what they're going to be pouring into your case, right? At least that's how we look at it, right? Like if we're representing someone, we're backing them. There's a lot that goes into running one of these cases. It's expensive, and it's not something the average client can really pay. So when people call me up and say, listen, I'm not going to tell you too much about this, but I want to offer a representation, my response will always be, well, that's a tempting offer, but I wish you the best, right? It just doesn't really make sense from the attorney's perspective. Now, flip that around. The attorney has to understand distrust and reluctance to trust are normal, natural things in the situation, right? And it's normal and common for people to call us up and be like, how do I know you're not going to take a bribe? What? Like, that's how you open the conversation with me? How do you know? Because I don't even know who you are, who your employer is. Like, what? Because I don't need to take a bribe because our firm does well for our clients. We make fairly good money, right? Like, it's kind of a weird opening, but that conversation happens a lot. Like, I'm not going to tell you anything about me or my claims or how I'm going to prove it or who my employer is until you prove to me that you're not going to take a bribe. Okay, well, that's a weird game, and I don't really know how you expect me to do that besides saying we run a lot of cases, and we've never been accused once of taking a bribe from an employer, right? At least not to my knowledge. So, if that's good enough for you, you can go ahead and tell me about the case. If it's not good enough for you, that's okay, but I can't, like, prove to you that I'm going to continue to not do something that I've never done before, right? There's no way to prove future action. Short of Minority Report reporting on me for future crimes, like the movie, right? I can't prove to you that in the future, I'm not going to take a bribe. You can look at my track record. It's a long, long stretch of not taking bribes, but I can't prove it, right? And I know, Chaz, that's not what you're doing. You're just a little reluctant. But I'm kind of giving like the more ridiculous and outlandish version of events that is a conversation I actually have often. And, you know, some people can get past that. Some people can say, that makes sense what you're saying. I know you can't prove you're not going to do something in the future. And I know you've got a great track record. Let's talk. And other people are going to say, no, if you can't prove you're not going to take a bribe, I'm not going to tell you. Okay. I respect where you're coming from. I know you're in a tough place right now. You've been through a lot. I get it. I wish you the best. That's all you can do. Right? That's all you can do. So I would say, listen, look at client reviews for this attorney. Look at the ethical history for this attorney. Have some conversations with this attorney. See if you can develop some level of trust based on your conversations, your interactions, and the attorney's track record and history, right? And if you can, then I would urge you, maybe if you're thinking about working with this person, you may want to have some level of cluing them in, right? Onboarding, getting them familiar with your evidence, getting them familiar with the valuation and the proof available in your case. Because without that, this attorney you're hiring is just some guy who's going to come to mediation and look at you funny because he doesn't know anything about what's going on, right? All right, Chaz. Still love your name. Chaz Maserati. Love it. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to track the comments on this video. If it wasn't helpful, you let me know. I'll make another video, okay? Like and subscribe. Helps me to help more people just like you.